Hello and welcome to those of you who have joined us today on February 1st, 2008. My name is Andrew Borman and I am the digital games curator here at the Strong National Museum of Play in Rochester, New York. We're coming at you live from our iCheg Lab, our International Center for the History of Electronic Games, where we keep a lot of our electronic games, from the PlayStation 2 games you can see behind me, to PC games that are off to my side, and many, many other things. So this is our first stream of what we're calling Game Saves from the Strong. We'll be talking a little bit about our game preservation efforts here at the museum, what we can do to try to save some of these floppy disks and other endangered media so that hopefully 5, 10, and hopefully 50 years from now, we'll actually be able to still play these games rather than relying simply on the original disks. So what we're going to be playing today, and I'll pull up my secondary camera here, is a game called The Moon is a Harsh Mistress. Specifically, it's a demo version of the game from 7/20/1987. This is part of our Brian Fargo papers that was acquired in 2006. And for those of you who don't know, Brian Fargo was the founder of Interplay, who was around for many, many years, producing classics like A Bard's Tale. Now, if you go back through their history, you'll see that back in 1987, there was no real game produced by Interplay. That's not to say that they weren't working on any, but just that none were released. One of the primary games they were working on is this, The Moon is a Harsh Mistress, based on the 1966 novel of the same name. This is on a standard 5-inch, 5¼ inch floppy disk. I'm trying to show you, and it's a little backwards for me right now. We have both this, which is the demo disc itself, and we even have the source code, which I will show you a little bit of in a little bit. So this game is meant to be played on PCs of the era. Think about your DOS computers, that sort of thing. And what makes it a bit unique is that there wasn't any information out there about The Moon is a Harsh Mistress. We know that they were working on it. People thought maybe for the Commodore 64, maybe for just PCs, maybe for the Apple II, since Interplay worked on a lot of games for all those platforms. But other than the fact that it was being made, probably for Activision, nothing has ever been seen about the game. Now, we do know that Charles Weidman III, who also just seems to go by 3, was one of the artists in the game. But before we get into that, I want to just load up the game and we can see what it looks like. So this is what it looks like. It is a text adventure game, and it starts with the fact that you're in the main computer facility. Mike, the master computer, is here. The only exit is a metal door with an arrow-shaped button pointing up on the wall beside it. Mike makes a throat-clearing noise to get your attention. Now, like many of those games, many games of that era, you can type in whatever you want. Of course, the computer doesn't necessarily know how to interpret it. So we can look around. Oops, I hit the wrong button. We'll go back to the computer. We can look around, and it says pretty much the same thing. We can move north, south, east, or west, and depending on what we do, we'll run into some other things. So let's try to go north. All right, we're hundreds of feet below the ground, man. You'll never get out that way. So we should probably focus on the button. Now, I should say that I only know a little bit about this game. I don't really know exactly what is going to happen as we get further in the game. I can show you, though, that this is simply a demo. And this is part of the source code. It says 6/30/1987, but we're not really sure. If we load up the actual source, though, it will show us that it's been commented to just be the demo version. The program is too large at present to compile the whole thing. So most likely there wasn't even a fully compiled version that includes all the rooms. Now, there would have been up to 50 rooms with 14 objects, including things like telephones and that sort of thing, throughout the entire game. And we could look through the whole thing, but that would be cheating. You can see a little bit about what the game would have printed back to you as you started to enter commands. Now, flags are things that get set based on your actions in the game and helps keep track. This is something that's done throughout really all games even today. But as we look back to the game, possibly, you'll see that in the upper left-hand corner, there is a big black space. Unfortunately, that seems to be where the main graphics of the game would have gone. There don't seem to actually be any graphics. As we move throughout the rooms, you'll see that we get a few corrupted graphics kind of going on here. But it could be that they're gone because the disc was already corrupted. There were sadly some bad sectors on the disc, which I imaged with the CryoFlux, which allows us to make the best possible copy of the disc. So it's possible that the art is simply corrupted. It's gone. Or it could be that the graphics were never even started. As we go back to the source code for a second, if I can find my mouse, and we look back on here, we do have descriptions of what the rooms would have looked like, along with Mike's faces, which we do see a little bit of in the game. This gives us some hint as to what would have happened as we go through the game and what things would have looked like. But unfortunately, there don't seem to be any other graphics, even in the source files. So I'm going to guess, and this is purely based on the evidence that we have, that it's gone, or that it wasn't made. But either way, we can go back to playing the game, and I think that will be a good spot to go. All right, so I know the first little bit of this, but beyond that, I'll be looking for all of you to help me. I know that there is a button on the wall. I could probably try to look at the button, but it doesn't say anything special. It doesn't know what I'm talking about. I can, though, push the button. It's going to ask me what button, and I happen to know it's an elevator button. So I'm going to push the elevator button, and it's always fun trying to type live on stream, especially for a game that has never been seen before. All right. I push the elevator call button. The door opens to reveal an old stuffed chair on a wood floor. I'm going to enter the elevator. Ooh, see? That's what I'm talking about, typing. These are the corrupted graphics I was talking about. It certainly seems like it's trying to load something, but I'm not sure that it exists in the first place. So we're in the elevator. I can sit down in the chair. When you sit down in the chair, a spring painfully pokes the back of your left leg as a hidden speaker crackles. Let's try to listen to the speaker. I don't hear anything, so I'm going to stand up. I'm going to get out of the chair, and we're going to see what happens. Look around again. Here in the elevator. Push the elevator button. You can't push the elevator button. So let's see what happens when we exit the elevator. Hopefully it doesn't crash the game. Oh, go, let's say south. Ooh, we're in a new room. A sign on the wall reads, "Please follow proper decontamination procedures before entering Holmes 4 computer facility." You see a small silver Mylar bag hanging by a string from the ceiling. 5 feet from the floor on the wall near the bag, you see a handhold beside a control panel. So, all my viewers out there, what should we do? This is actually based on the novel. Thanks for stopping in. I'll show you actually some of the development documents here in a little bit if you stick around. We do have some documents related to the game. So if you've read the novel, you should get a fairly good idea of what happens or what should happen throughout the game. I haven't read the full novel, so I actually don't know everything that would happen. So I'm going to grab the handhold. Oops. The classic. Okay, we've firmly gripped the metal handhold. Now what? It's still there. There is some sort of decontamination procedure that I don't really know. There's a string. Can we cut the string? They don't know what cut means, so we're already down a little bit. Let's see if we can take the bag. You can't take the bag. How about we open the bag? You can't open the bag. Huh. So let's look back on, and we can somehow, I believe, make it full screen, but a small bag is hanging, so it's 5 feet off the floor. Let's just try to push the button. Push the button on the control panel. I don't know which button it is. So this is a good spot because I do know we can get a little bit more information. Let's take a little bit of a look at our design documents while we're here. Now these are all coming from our archives of play here at the Museum of Play. We have a ton of different things. If you go to archives.museumofplay.org, you can check out any of these items to learn a little bit about the collections that we have. Now these are going to be under our Brian Fargo Papers collection. And you'll see when I switch cameras here in a second, I am using an Atari manual as my guide of where my camera is. So let's check this out. So here's my Atari manual. That has nothing to do with the game. We will go back and try to pull the string in just a little bit. So I'm just going to put one page up at a time. We're trying to be careful. These are the original design documents. I know it's a little angled, but this is the Moon is a Harsh Mistress design specification by Bruce Balfour. Now, Bruce has written a ton of different sci-fi things. If you go on his website, you will find a small mention about the game. Other than the fact that he's worked on the property, though, it doesn't list anything. So it doesn't even confirm or deny how far this game was when it was being made. You'll notice, too, that there's no sound, so I am going to talk quite a bit. Let's see. We can get a little bit of a story background on the game. The year is 2075. Earth's moon is a prison colony where loonies live in underground warrens working to provide grain for Earth. Now, I'm reading upside down, so it's a little difficult. So we can go through this. It does give us a little bit about the information, including the language that the loonies are using. Loonies are ethnically very mixed, but the greatest numbers of colonists were originally sent to Luna from the Soviet Union. So just to give an idea, some sort of background of where we were in the world at the time, the Soviet Union was still very much a thing. It does talk a little bit about the scoring system. So when asked, Mike can estimate the player's percentage chance for successfully overthrowing authority, the ultimate goal. So there's our goal. We want to overthrow the authority. Let's see if we can get Mike to give us an answer. I would wager that it's not going to be very good. Oops, I am not typing. What is the score? He doesn't know the word score. So, what are our chances of overthrowing now? So, it's a matter of figuring out exactly what commands that we can issue, and there is a few hints as we go throughout this manual a little bit. So let's go back to try to pull the string. Nothing unusual happens. So, to talk a little bit more about the game will effectively have three major sections: preparing for the revolution, the trip to Earth, and preparations for the final battle, which after returning to Luna, the player will have to set up the second catapult for slinging rocks at targets on the Earth. It goes through a few of the phases. Oh, I should probably pull up the manual again for everybody. You see, I am working both cameras, the game, and everything, so it's pretty exciting. What's cool about these is because they are the original documents, you'll see that they do have some handwriting on them, in this case in blue pen. Again, I know it's a little hard to read, but it says them, grab them here, telling us exactly what to do. This is going through a lot of the different rooms on the moon, and it goes through lots of cool stuff. Like, at the store, it does say that there should be funny messages when Mike something. There should be funny messages from Mike. And if you excuse me, it's a little hard to aim this. And it can go through all the different rooms. Again, there should be at least 50 rooms, and actually there's more than that as I go down this list. There are actually 70 listed. So some rooms may have a before and after version. For example, the main catapult before and after it is destroyed by warship bombs. The secret transmitter built by the scientists before and after it is destroyed by the player. So despite the fact that there would be 50 rooms, it looks like there would be a few other things going on as well. Hey, thanks for coming out. BC likes you. I hope you've done well with your game, A Small Robot Story. I have yet to actually sit down and play it, but I do have it on Steam. I wish I could bring it with me. I don't quite have a computer that is quite able to handle it on the go. Now, since I haven't read any of the story, I could actually go through the documents that list an outline of the actual book, right from the developers themselves. That can give some insight on exactly what they were thinking were the main plot points, too, and what they might focus on as things go on. We even have things like this, which are asking possibly a third-person viewpoint. Maybe you'd get to see yourself at certain points of the game. What I'm trying to get down to is what's our next sheet. That gives us an idea of exactly how the world would have been laid out in terms of which direction you'd have to go, north, south, east, west, in order to find things like the hospital, the jail cell, and where you might go, how the game might play out. So this is an original development copy, but it's clearly not the original handwritten version of it. It's something that the developers themselves had made. And we actually have bigger versions of this too, and this will be even harder to see, which outline things like the airlock, which we're actually fairly close to, along with some other sections of the game. We'll come back to those because I think those are quite valuable, especially knowing that we're only playing a demo. And now, the part that we've all been waiting for, the actual description on how to get past these first couple of rooms, the only reason I know where to go. So this is our room description, which we just read about our decontamination procedure. So I'm going to try to follow along and see if we can get a little bit further in the game. So, all right, our proper procedure. Oh, see, we don't have a hint on what this bag is. I thought that there'd be something actually in the bag that we want to wear in some way. But what they actually want us to do is to put the bag on. Yeah, that's what it says. Oh, we'll follow exactly. Put bag over our head. All right, we put the bag over our head. Things are not looking good right now. I am going to press the button. I knew there was a button in here. Uh-oh. When you push the radiation button, you hear an announcement. You're about to undergo long-wave radiation exposure for bacterial control. There is no cause for alarm. That's good. Yes, normally a bag over the head is something that we're telling kids not to do, but in 1987, I think it's something that we just, we kind of just go with the flow here. The room fills with intense white light and a humming sound. You're glad you're wearing a bag over your head. As the light and the humming fade away. Well, we still seem to be alive, so we haven't totally messed things up. That's a pretty good sign. So let's take that bag off. Move the bag. All right, so now we can breathe again. That's good. I already grabbed the handhold, which is what they want us to do next. We're going to blast ourselves with some air. All right, I can keep an eye out on the microphone. That could just be a connection issue, but I appreciate the heads up because I'm not sure that I can fix it. How are the levels on the microphone, by the way? If the levels are okay, then it's probably just me. Or it's too many USB devices. That could be an issue too. Okay, cool. All right, we grabbed the handhold already, so we have to press the air blast button. Now, I wish we had a little bit more of an idea of, you know, what the decontamination procedure was. I assume there is some way to learn. Okay, I'm going to switch back to our notepad for a second. So back looking at the art notes, this is exactly where we are. So there would be a control panel. the metal handhold, and a silver head-sized bag hanging by the string. So maybe if we look at it, the control panel, it will tell us exactly what happens. So let's go back to the game. Let's go scene. So let's look at the control panel. It doesn't see anything special. So maybe it's just not implemented. It can be a little hard to tell what parts were implemented properly. So we're going to press the air button. Vents open up around the room, then a powerful blast of air slams against you. You only manage to remain standing because of your firm grip on the handhold. Okay, so we're actually playing this through DOSBox today. It does run on our Windows 98 computer. It's just a hassle to get the screen to sync up properly with our capture equipment. That's something we're working on a little bit to be able to use more of the original equipment. But I have to admit, it does make it convenient to switch between stuff. It gives me a little bit more control than the Windows 98 machine does. Now, I have played it on Windows 98, and it works fine, and it works exactly the same. So those same missing graphics are missing, regardless of if I'm playing from the original disc, playing from the CryoFlex image, or copying images or copying the files directly to Windows or DOS. The behavior is the same. So if there's something wrong with the disc, I've kind of exhausted most of our options. If the art's not there, the art's not there. The fact that we have these graphics makes me think that the art just wasn't made yet. So yes, short answer, DOSBox. So I'm glad we did hold on to that handheld thing. And we can probably... Oh, we have another button to press. Press the anti-static mist. Oops. I think we can... Ooh, I moved. If you hit the arrows, it actually gives you a shortcut of go north, south, east, west. And I forgot about that. So press the mist button. Vents open up overhead, and then a fine anti-static mist falls on you and drips down through the grating below your feet. Now, I've seen things in the documents that if you don't follow these procedures properly, things will not really go well for you. So I think we've decontaminated ourselves. I think we're good to go. We're able to move around a little bit now. And hopefully this will go okay. So we do have to let go of the handhold. Let go of the handhold. It probably wouldn't care. So let's look around. North, there's a closet door that refuses to open. I guess we're not going there. East. I can't go that way. West. All right, we're in the security scan room. The security computer is watching you on camera. Not a good sign. There is a keyboard beneath the camera with the dark glass plate on the wall beside it. Please type your last name for security evaluation. Now, when I first loaded this up, I had no idea what our last name is, having not read the book or all the notes. So I believe our last name is O'Kelly. After you type your name, the security computer asks you to place your hand on the scanner, which is starting to glow with a red laser light. Put hand on scanner. Identity verified, says the security computer. You may pass. Gandalf will not stand in our way. We shall pass. So, let's see, a security scan. So just to read some of the notes for the art, I'll switch back to that. It'd be nice to have something like an animated sequence as the player's hand presses up against the glass plate of the scanner while it flashes red. So this kind of confirms the fact that I think that the art just simply wasn't done or implemented at this point, but it could have continued on. We don't know for sure exactly when the game was canceled. So we're going to go back to our computer. So let's see which way we can go. You're in the office of the Chief Alvarez. He appears to be examining some fake identification. I hope that we do not have any fake identification. To be honest, I don't know what we're supposed to do from here. Chief Alvarez. Let's see. It doesn't tell me what to do. So one of the things that I find to be kind of cool about this game, being that the primary loonies on the moon, on Luna, are from the Soviet Union, is that the game, well, the design documents anyway, give us some Russian phrases that may come in useful. Now, I am not going to even attempt to speak any of these Russian phrases because I have no idea. But I imagine that this would be the sort of thing that would be included with the manual itself so that the players could type in whatever it is if you're talking to somebody Russian. Feel free, if you're ever around and you want to stream this with me or whatever the case may be. If you speak Russian, I think that'd be quite interesting, but I am not going to try. Let's go back to our wonderful game. So what should we do? Should we look around, maybe see what else is around, since I'm not quite sure what we're supposed to do with our chief right now. Oh, here we go. I found it. This is technically room number 8, if you're curious. So it doesn't actually tell me what should happen here. So we're going to go south. That's back. I've already done this, but clearly it hasn't flagged properly. All right, so now it's going to let me go again. Let's see, what direction can we go from here? A sign on the wall reads, "Please follow proper..." No, this is the room we were just in. Let's go south. You can't go that way. This is where the closet is. West. Now we're back here. So let's go west again. Ah, we're at an airlock. Now, I did see something in the design documents that referred to the fact that if we don't close certain airlocks, we lose points. I mentioned previously that the game would or does keep score, which will determine the ultimate outcome. For those of you just joining us, we are playing The Moon is a Harsh Mistress. This game was unreleased by Interplay. It was being developed in 1987. There's really not a whole lot known about the game, so we're kind of discovering it together, which makes it kind of exciting. This is the East Warren airlock. The doors open and close automatically at your approach. There's a telephone with a hush hood here. Look at the telephone. Nothing special. How about we go north? Can't go north. Let's go west again. Uh-oh. That is not a good sign. It's not really clear why development stopped on this game. Unfortunately, I don't have any notes that tell us why. I can tell you that it was being developed for Activision. The goal was to come out on Apple, IBM, and Commodore 64. The only thing we have is the IBM PC version. So looking at, I'll pull this up because it's actually pretty cool. Secondary cam. So this is actually a deal sheet with some sort of schedule that shows us that delivery with text only would have been due on 6/15, I can assume 1987. So 1987, we would have possibly had graphics done by September, which kind of confirms the fact that maybe they just simply weren't implemented. You can see there's quite a few lines here, so we're not too sure how fluid the schedule was. And they had delivered the first phase, which was probably the first playable test only, and possibly up to the third, and even maybe that graphics with text. But we don't really have any documentation, I guess, is what I am saying. Now, for those of you in the Rochester area, you can, of course, make a appointment to possibly see documents, whether it's this particular game, or perhaps you want to see something else in the collection. We always recommend researchers reach out. We're happy to have some. And, you could come and play it yourself if you happen to be in the area for whatever reason. Okay, let's go back to the game. So I'll be playing until about 4 o'clock, so I really appreciate everybody who's stopping in and helping me work through some of the issues with the stream, and really trying to figure out what's going on with this game. Oops, that's the wrong window. We have already started. So what do we think we're doing? You're in the vast main pressure dome of Luna City. Most loonies pass through here each day. There's a stage for public speeches. Airlock doors lead north, west, and south. A tunnel leads east. Security Chief Alvarez is here. He frowns when he sees you. So let me see if I have any documentation related to this. Frowns. Airlock. Let's do airlock. All right, here we go. Nope. It just has the description. So let's go west again. This is the Western Warren Airlock. This is where we just were, no? Oops, that is not a word. Okay, now we're at a home farm where simulated sunlight is used to grow wheat, corn, and vegetables. At the west end of the farm is a doorway leading up some stairs. To the north is your home. Ah, well, it seems nice. Hey, thanks for stopping by the stream. I hope work is going well for everybody today. I hope you've all made it through your days. So let's go north. Let's go home. You're in the living room of your house. Nobody is home at the moment. You see a family photo. Look at the photo. See nothing special. I'm going to take the photo. Ah, look, we even have a graphic for the inventory. So that's exciting. We have our photo. What that photo does, I have no idea. Hopefully by the end we can figure that out. Let's look around again. Let's go north. Can't go that way. Let's go east. Can't go that way. You're in your home workshop. Tools and machine parts are piled on workbenches and hanging on the walls. There's a telephone with a hush hood in here. There are lots and lots of telephones. Hey, thanks for coming out to watch my stream. Yes, I know who you are. I'm glad people are having fun. So there seems to be a lot of telephones with hush hoods. Let's see if we can figure out any information about these telephones, because I don't know any telephone numbers. No, I do not. Telephone. Nope. So pick up the telephone? You can't get to the telephone. Walk to the telephone. You can't go there. Perhaps if you tried a direction. Guess not. Can't go north. How about go west? East? And now we're back. Let's get out of our house. Can we go west from here? Uh-oh. You climb the stairs. This is an airlock hatch. There is an airlock hatch marked in big red letters. Oh boy. It's Russian. Upaznosti. Surface hatch. Beside the hatch is a button marked with the words Okriti. I have a feeling that it's going to be a bad thing to exit this hatch, but we're going to try it anyway. Push the airlock button. Don't do it, man. You've got so much to live for. You'll never win this way. It's not going to let me, it looks like. So let's go a different way. They actually should be on that Russian sheet. Good point. Let's see where I've put it, though. Here we go. Right on top. So let me look around. So that means danger. The first word means danger. Surface hatch. Let's see what the other word means. Open. So the button is marked open. I'm guessing they don't want me to hit that button, so we'll go the other way. We're kind of stuck, it looks like. Exit the... walk. Push the open button. What's the worst that can happen? He yells at me again? Alright, he does not like that. Let's move to the west. See, I think we might be stuck. So that's always the challenge of unreleased games. We're not really sure where we're going to end up. There are some shortcut buttons when I hit the game, or when I hit the F keys, rather. Tell me about the button. See, that's one of the recommended phrases, and it still doesn't work. That's how you know we're dealing with an unreleased game. I don't want to drop the photo. I don't want to quick save. Quick load. Talk. Talk to Mike. Mike isn't here. Thanks. He can talk to me, but apparently I can't talk to him. Look. I mean, look just does. Go back. I can't go that direction. So we seem to be a little stuck. Exit the airlock. Go south. Go north. Go west. Go east. All right. So this is one of those times where I think we just need to do a quit, and we'll try again. But we can see what else happens. It's very possible that it's not just a bug. It's possible that that's where the demo ends. It's not very clear. I could look through all the rooms to see exactly what's included. Flail in the vacuum of space, yeah. Mike wouldn't let me. I tried. So we're back at the beginning. Those of you just joining us, this is The Moon is a Harsh Mistress, an unreleased game from about 1987 from Interplay. And it's in our Brian Fargo papers here in the at the Museum of Play in Rochester, New York. So we are going to go push the elevator button. Go north, I think. Oops. East, west, south. Enter the elevator. I don't know. Let's see if examine's a word. Examine just seems to do exactly what look would. We are in the elevator. Usually if we exit... Now, okay, so here's our decontamination procedure. We're going to see what happens when we do not put the bag on our head. Let me just get all my commands up. We're not going to put it over our head. We're just going to press the radiation button. When you push the radiation button, you hear an announcement. You're about to undergo long wave radiation exposure for bacterial control. There is no cause for alarm. The room fills with intense white light and a humming sound. You get a good view of the bright light for about half a second before you go blind. You wander around for exactly 87 minutes, bumping into all kinds of things before your vision finally returns. This is the North Warren airlock. The doors open and close automatically at your approach. Oh, all right. So I guess we could skip past things a little bit. Let's go east. You're in the Luna City exercise station. There are only a few people here at the moment, mostly tourists, scientists, and new chums who will be returning to the Earth soon. You see no exotic exercise machines here, only heavy weights for lifting. All right. Heavy weights. I'm again searching our document. All right, so let's look around. That's exactly what we just heard. So apparently there's supposed to be a counter here. So we look, we're in room 66, right here. And we're in the Luna exercise station. There is apparently a Hawaiian shirt here left by a visiting tourist. So there are weights. So let's see what happens when we do some of these commands here. If I go back to full PC. Just for the heck of it, we're going to try to examine the room again. It just seems to look around. Let's do lift the weights. You can't lift weights as heavy as the tourists are using, but you work your way up to a respectable amount. Hey, we can lift some weights. Look at the tourists. It's kind of funny to think that there are tourists coming to visit Luna, which is a moon colony. I see nothing special. Look at tourist. So in the art documents, it says that they look like the standard tourist you see in this part of Luna City. Hawaiian shirts, Bermuda shorts, sandals, hollow cameras, you get the idea. They're all happily lifting weights. One elderly woman is slowly hopping up and down, amused by her light weight. I could see myself doing that. So let's take the shirt. What shirt? I don't see any shirts here. Oops, that is not what I wanted to do. Take the Hawaiian. That is not how you spell Hawaiian. Let's try that again. Hawaii. And nope, I see what I'm missing. I'm missing an A. No? Am I that bad at spelling today? Go to the desk. North. East. Oh, now we're in the science lab. Nope, we want to go back. So we have south. Oh boy. So I couldn't quite pick up that Hawaiian shirt. It says I should be able to. Look for a shirt. But it's also possible that we are not doing things in the proper order, being an unfinished game and all of that. So just to talk a little bit about how we've backed this game up. This disc was already in the collection. It was pointed out by Frank Cifaldi, who runs the Video Game History Foundation, another great group looking to preserve gaming history. He happened to see that it was in our collection and pointed it out to me. So anytime you're here, if you see something, do say something about, if you see something that looks like it might be endangered, something worth spending time backing up. Because if he hadn't mentioned that, while yes, it is an item that is on our endangered media list, or it may not have been gotten to quite so quickly. So we saw that, he saw that, I was able to request it and back it up using the CryoFlux, which makes pretty much the best copy of a disc possible using modern hardware. I was able to verify that dump, make sure that worked. I also verified if we copy the files directly off the disk itself. And the results were the same. The spot is blank no matter what we do. So this is part of an ongoing project that we have of not only identifying endangered media, but coming up with really the guidelines of how we're going to preserve these things to make sure that once those disks completely fail, we have at least a small chance of being able to play them in the future. For those of you just joining us too, I will just quickly bring up the discs themselves. They're a standard 5 1/4 inch floppy disk, moon source code from 7/20, presumably 1987. And it does mention the moon art, which is that document we've been looking at. And also this moon demo, which is what we're running right now. The reason it's a demo is because they simply didn't have enough space to compile the source code which if we scroll up, it says right here, the program is too large at present to compile the whole thing. Yeah, I would hope that we can stream more games like this. I hope to be able to stream every other week or so, and including hopefully bringing in developers who want to talk about their games, and talk about ways that either they are currently preserving their history, be them smaller studios or larger, and what can we do to really do more. No, I've been looking around, Frank, to try to find exactly what tools were used to compile the game, but so far I haven't found them. I've only looked through really another set of discs, which happened to be Wasteland discs. They were just marked as kind of being random discs that didn't go elsewhere in the collection. So I haven't found what tools they used to compile. It doesn't seem to be in the documents anywhere. So we're kind of guessing right now. Obviously, with the hardware we have now, space isn't really an issue. So we could just simply include all the rooms and see what happens. The code itself is pretty easy to follow, so I don't see it being an insurmountable task by any means. But hopefully that's something we can look into more, especially as we're starting projects that really get to backing up some of these discs. Hopefully something reveals itself. Now, one of the discs that was found was actually Wasteland Editor for Apple II. So that was pretty cool to see how you could modify maps using their official tools. I didn't want to use it very long, just simply because it wasn't what I was looking for. But we do have all sorts of really cool discs from Interplay, which I'm sure you know about, considering you were the one that saw this disc in the first place. So let's just go into another building. We are slowly running out of time. We have about 10 minutes left, give or take. So let's go east. So now we are in the science lab. There are several scientists here intent on their work. So let's look up what is... Oop, that is not the right thing. I gotta scroll up. 1 second. Science lab. It doesn't tell me what is going on in this room, unfortunately. So that takes us back. Oops. So what's interesting is, when we go back to the notes about the science lab, is the only exit is west, which should be a closed door, but it isn't closed. Sure, we can try saying hello. Don't bother me. You didn't laugh at my jokes, so you'll just have to get along without my help now. Well, apparently Mike is not happy. We can try. Well, Mike wouldn't let us kill ourselves, and that's not really a lane I want to go down. But there are certainly funny things we can do, and if you give me just a second, I can show you some of the commands that we would have had, because this could actually be useful as we get into the game further in the future. OBS, we need... Oh, I already pulled it up. So we do get an idea of what verbs we could have used. So again, we have both the English and the Russian. Let's see what happens if we laugh. What do you want to laugh? I don't know what I want to laugh. Laugh at a joke. You can't laugh at the joke. Never mind. So we can do different things here. I like that they have English here so we know what they're talking about. Let's see. Tell a joke. I don't know how to tell. Let's see if I just do joke. I don't know how to joke. So it seems that joking isn't going to be a thing. There are some words. There are words like kill in here. So where were we again? Kill the scientist. I can't kill the scientist. Sorry. Alright. Let's go Can't go east. How about north? West. Now, I remember there was another direction here. Okay, we're at the apartment complex where the visiting astronomers and other lunar scientists live. Due to the effects of the weaker lunar gravity on their bodies, few of the scientists are stationed permanently on Luna. Talk to the scientist. Guess not. Nope, we're just that way. East, what was I missing there? South again? So we're kind of stuck there. North, west. Oh, now we're at a different airlock. We haven't been to this one before. So this is the North Warren airlock. The doors open and close automatically as you approach. Again, there's another telephone. And there would have been telephone numbers that you could call. And there are a bunch of numbers listed rather. Dial the telephone. Pick up the telephone. I know it says I can't get it, but all right. You're in the ever-popular pub known as Mother Boar's Tucker Bag. Tourist scientists, cargo ship crews, military types, and regular loonies all like to hang out here. It's such a noisy place. You can barely hear yourself think. As you enter, you stumble over something on the floor, which may have been someone's foot. You see a pair of fuzzy dice and money. So just so I can see if we get any hints. I'm just looking at the art. Oh, here we go. It doesn't tell me what I can do. So let's look at the floor. See nothing special. Take the dice. Oh, I got a pair of fuzzy dice. That doesn't quite look like fuzzy dice. That looks more like that picture that we picked up in the previous play. But what can I say? Talk. Who is here? Nope. Talk to a loony. You don't know what the word loony, you just told me loony. So there's a bit of a guessing game trying to figure out exactly what they would have wanted you to do. Northeast. Ooh, we're in a large locker room now. I'm actually not sure that these are going the directions that we thought that they would go. So again, it's a bit of a guessing game trying to figure this sort of thing out. I am just carefully trying to put those back. Let's see. Let's look. Oh no. There's the rise. Walk up the stairs. You proceed up the stairs. Well, we've seen this hatch before. Press the open button. See? So maybe go down the stairs. Maybe that's where we went wrong last time. There we go. Open my locker. Open locker. Open O'Mal. What is it? O'Kelly? O'Kelly. Locker. You can't open the O'Kelly of the locker. As you can see, it's not quite done. Let's take a quick look. I do have at least one more page here that I wanted to share before we finish up today's stream. Again, this is Game Saves from the Strong. This is the first of hopefully a series of streams that we can do to help share some of the materials that we have and show what we're doing to try to preserve these games for the years to come. I'm just trying to find So what's actually quite cool here is we have part of our independent contractor agreement, which is laying out some of the terms of how much money they would have made at different points. As you can see, it's not a whole lot of money that they're making. Hello, thanks for coming out to the stream. Unfortunately, we are almost done, but we still have some cool stuff to see. They would have made a whopping $350 for the delivery of a script, $1,200 upon execution of this independent contractor agreement, $500 upon delivery of the first phase, and so on and so forth. So I find this to be kind of interesting, just to see how much they would have made. And there is a second page of this. Excuse me. Where it goes on and sets out some of the terms. This is something that you really wouldn't see anywhere but here, honestly. I certainly haven't seen many contract agreements, definitely not from this era. And there are other pages that go on and on, because that's how it works. And it is signed by Bruce Balfour, who had to correct his name, and Brian Fargo. So I believe this was between Bruce and then Interplay as relation to the story. So I hope I just answered that question for you, Frank. It looks to be between those two parties, governed by the law of the state of California. Yes, Interplay Productions does hereby retain Bruce Balfour, consultant, to furnish the below described services upon following terms and conditions. I also believe there's some stuff in here regarding the, yeah. Yep. I have that exact pages that you were talking about, with Charles Weidman III, who goes by 3 now. I'm glad you guys are picking up on some of these things. So he was, I believe Charles would be doing the art for the project, if I'm not mistaken. Yeah, so this contract part, he would have gotten money for the pictures being delivered. A certain amount of pictures would give him a certain amount. So I haven't actually reached out to him to know that, know exactly how far he got in designing these pictures. So, yeah, for the HD remake, that'll be wonderful. So I haven't read the full text of the contract agreement. Let's play a couple more minutes, and then we will be wrapping things up for the day. So this is one game of plenty that we have here at the Strong. I believe there's over 60,000 objects just in the iCheg collection, which you can see behind me. If I switch, oops, I lost my window here. So if you kind of look behind me, you can see some of our games, and I'm slowly going through all of our boxed games to determine if there's CDRs in there, and then we can back up those CDRs and move them to proper storage. That's what those yellow post-it notes are. So there are a lot of different things that we have, and of course we do have a lot of digital files, which does have some paperwork things, but they're not explicitly kind of outlined in some of the finding aids. So some of the finding aids, I believe, say something along the lines of hard drive with X amount of data. So we do have a lot of things including files for a lot of vector games. I was particularly excited about finding what I believe is source code for a game called Tomcat. And that was being worked on around the time of Star Wars, and the original designer still has, or had as of a few years ago, prototypes of that. So I believe we do have source code for that, among other things. So it's really quite exciting. I feel like I'm still kind of getting a handle on exactly what's in the collection, kind of addressing things as we go along. We're starting to work on our endangered media project, where we can hopefully come up with some sort of model so that we're preserving these things, not just haphazardly, but in a permanent, or at least semi-permanent way, to give ourselves some breathing room. That about wraps up today's stream. Thank you, all of you who stopped by. If you like this, please do tweet out, show your support. You can see all of our Twitter accounts down below, I believe below the Twitch stream itself, whether it's myself, whether it's the Museum of Plays Twitter account, along with our Facebook pages, and along with other people. I think we're really just getting started on our endangered media project right now. There's been a presentation or two, really one presentation done in Kingston, New York, which kind of outlined what the project would be. But the specifics of it, I don't think, have been laid out too much yet. There'll be lots of cool stuff to come, especially as things like the World Video Game Hall of Fame get started up again. Hopefully we can bring in some more cool things for you all to see. Well, thank you again, everybody, for coming. And until next time, thanks for watching.